One of the most powerful features in Power Pivot is calculated columns. You can actually create columns that calculate results. And when you're creating these calculated columns, you are in fact using a language called DAX, which is a formula language. And DAX is short for Data Analysis Expressions. So I want to have a look at creating calculations within Power Pivot. I'm going to start by going to the sheet called Financials, and here it is down here. They do have a tendency to shift, so I could drag it and put it on the end just so I can find it easy. So we've got Financials here. Now what I want to do is start by doing some calculations based on the date column. And when we create a calculated column, if we go to Design in the ribbon, it automatically calculates the results because our calculation options is typically on automatic calculation mode. I don't really want to use manual calculation mode because if I choose manual calculation mode, then the results don't calculate straight away. I have to hit calculate now to manually get the formulas to calculate. So I'm going to put it back on automatic. So I think having it on automatic is the best option. So I'm just going to go back in here and make sure it's on automatic. And then I'm just going to click back on Financials. Okay, so make sure your calculation's on automatic. Now what I want to do is I want to use this last column called Add Column to create a calculated column. So I click somewhere on here. Now I can just start typing. I can click up in the formula bar if I want to, just like Excel, but I can just start typing. I want to extract the year, let me just scroll over, using the year function from this date column here, and I want to show the year for each row. So it's a row iteration. So I type equals Y. Equals Y will trigger all the functions that begin with Y or contain Y, not begins with, contains. And so this year function returns a year as a 4-digit integer. So I'm going to double click year, or you can press tab. And then it asks me, where is the date? What is the name of the column that contains the date that you want to extract the year from? If I press square bracket, that triggers Power Pivot to show me all the column names in this particular financials table. And so the column I want to extract the year from is literally called date. So I could down arrow and press tab, or I could double click it. And I could close the round bracket, but I'm just going to press enter because I know it'll do it for me. And so it's basically extracted the year, as you can see, 2019, 2020, from each of these dates. I want to rename this column, so I double click its column heading, and I just want to call it year. And so then I type year and I press enter. I can resize the column just by dragging this, and it just adjusts the column. Notice that the columns are green. The column headings are green, except for the calculated column. That will always appear with a black fill color. So that way I know that's calculated and that's data. So I have a column now that extracts the year from this date. Now what if I want to extract the month? Then I'm going to use, in my DAX language, the month function. I click on add column, I type equals M, and these are all the functions that begin with M, or contain an M, I should say. So if I go MO, these are all the functions that contain MO, and there's month, so I'll double click it. If I hit square bracket, it says these are all the fields or the columns you can work with, so I'll double click date. When I press enter, it's giving me a number between 1 and 12 to represent the month. So December, June, November is showing here. I want to rename this column, so I'll double click calculated column 1, which is the default column heading, and call it month num, and press enter. And there I can see I've got a black calculated column heading, and I can resize it. When it comes to columns, just looking at the design tab, this is where you can hit add to add a column, is the same as hitting here. This is where you can adjust the width, which we did just by dragging, but I could say, look, yeah, I want that to have a width of 60, and so that adjusts the width to 60. And it's here also that you can permanently delete a column that you've created or you don't want from a particular table. So we've created 2 calculated columns. One extracts the year, one extracts the month. So those are a couple of month functions in the DAX language. Let's now go to order details at the bottom here, and I want to create some more calculated columns. What I'd like to do now is create a column which is a discount. And I'm basically saying here that I want to grab the sales value and multiply it by the discount. But first of all, I say I have to work out the sales. So I want to create a column that grabs the quantity and multiplies it by the unit price, giving me the sales. So I click here and I go equals, and I'm just doing a simple multiplication. Square bracket, grab the unit price, so I'll double click that. Multiply it, which is the star, so star is multiply, square bracket, and I want to multiply that by the quantity. And when I press enter, it'll be the unit price column times the quantity column, and that'll give me my sales figure. I want to actually name that sale, so I'm going to click and double click the column heading and type sale. Press enter, and I have my black calculator column called sale. I do need to show this as currency though, so I'm going to change the data type and the format to currency. So I head to the Home tab in my ribbon, change the data type to decimal number or currency. Currency would be more accurate, and also the format to currency, which is actually naturally picked up, so that's great. Now I'm going to add another column, and now I'm able to calculate the discount. And so I'm going to go discount, sorry. So I'm going to go equals square bracket, the sale figure I've just created, and it is listed there. So you can refer to calculations and subsequent calculations. So I'm going to double click sales, and I then want to multiply that by square bracket, a column I've already been given, which is the discount column. So I'm going to double click discount, and when I press enter, it'll grab this calculated sales figure and multiply it by the discount, which if it's greater than 0 will give you a result. And so I press enter, and here's my result here. I want to rename that column, so I'm going to double click the column heading, and I'm going to call it discount dollar. I can't call it discount because that already exists, but discount dollar is the dollar amount of discount. So discount dollar. Now what I want to do is create another column that basically says the sales minus the discount. So I click on add column, I press equals, square bracket, I want sale tab minus square bracket discount dollar and tab. And when I press enter, then that calculates. But of course we want to name this column, so I'm going to double click the column heading and call it sale minus discount. All right, so we've created in this particular table 3 DAX calculations. Now I want to know, has a discount been applied or not? Because I can't tell just looking at this. So I'm going to add a 4th calculation to this table. And I want to say, I'm going to put the column heading as part of the formula. I'm going to go discount applied, so I don't have to come back and rename the column after. Discount applied, colon equals. So if you go colon equals, it knows that discount applied is the column heading. Then I'm going to use an if function, and I'll double click if or press tab, and the if function performs some sort of test. So if square bracket, the discount dollar is greater than 0, that's my test, comma, now it says to me, what do you want to do if that result is true? Then I want to say yes, a discount was applied, comma, but if it's not greater than 0, if that's false, I want to show no, a discount was not applied. And because yes and no are text, they have to be inside of double quotes because they're text. I'll close the bracket, though I probably would get away without that, and I'll press enter. And so because I put discount applied colon equals, it knows that that's the column heading. When I look up in my formula bar, I can see the formula is an if statement, and it's basically saying if I click on it, that's the test. If the discount's greater than 0, if it's true, show yes. If it's false, show no. And so that's an example of an if statement. I'd like to put some more formulas, but this time I want to add it to the products table. So I'm going to click on products at the bottom of my screen. Oops, I need to hit the tick so it lets me go. I'm going to go to products here. Now in the products table, I want to add a column, and this column I want to be called value in stock equals, and then I put my formula in. The value in stock is the field or column unit price times square bracket the units in stock, and that's the value of my in stock. And so I press enter, and so there's my value in stock calculation. I want to format it to currency, so I go to format and I choose currency. I could go to data type and choose currency there as well, it wouldn't hurt. All right, and now I want to add another calculation. So I click on add column. I want this column to be called value on order equals, and it's the unit price multiply, which is your star, square bracket units on order. And when I press enter, that is the value of the products on order. Again, I would like to probably change the data type to currency, which has the effect of changing the format to currency. All right, so those are some more DAX or calculated columns. Now what I'd like to do is use the related function. The related function is when I want to show information in another table in this table. I want to show the supplier of each of these products. So I'm going to click on add column, type supplier equals, and then use the related. So I hit R and I choose the related function. And the related function, I'm going to tell it to look at the suppliers table. So these are the category table columns. And it's picking up the relationships that we set in our diagram view in our data model. It's picking up the related tables. And so I want to show the supplier's company name. So I tab that and close bracket and enter. So that will look up the related supplier and show me their company name in this table. Really, really good stuff. Now I want to move this and put it to the right of the supplier ID column, which is sort of over there. So I just drag this along and move it to there. Oh, one more. Drag it along to there. So I put the supplier next door to the supplier ID. So 1 is Exotic Liquids, 2 is New Orleans Cajun Delights. So the related function is really good. So now I want to add design, add. So I'm adding another column. This column is going to be called category, equals. And I want to grab the related category name from the categories table so I know what category this product falls into. So R and then choose related. And I want to grab from the categories table the category name and enter. And there it is there. And then I want to drag that and put that to the right of category ID, which is about there. So there's my category ID. Number 1 is obviously beverages, number 2 is condiments, number 7 is produce, and number 2 is condiments. So I am using the related function to go and look at the diagram view. Let me just go home, diagram view, and find the relationship between products and categories and products and suppliers, and show the related company name of the supplier and the related category name from the categories table. And then I'll go back to data view. So the related function is a very powerful function. Now I'd like to go to the orders tab and add some calculations here. So I'm going to design and I'm going to add, and I want to pull the year out of the order date. So I want a column called year, equals, and I want to use the function year and square bracket, and I want to apply it to the order date. And there it is there. And I want to add another column, add, and I want it to be the ISO week. ISO week is the name of the column. equals week num is the function, and the date is order date, and enter. And so that grabs the week number and calls it ISO week. I now want to add another column, add. I want the column to be called month, colon equals. I want to use the month function, MO, down arrow, tab, and I am applying it, square bracket, to the column called OR, order date, tab, month. Next thing I want to do is create an end of month date. So I go add, to add a column. End of month is the name of the column, colon equals. Then I want EO, month, returns the date of the last day of the month before or after a specified number of months. So I want end of month. The start date is square bracket, order date, comma, 0. So I want the end of the month date for the order date. And so there it is there. So if I went to the order date, this was ordered on the 4th of August, this was ordered on the 5th of August, this was ordered on the 8th of August, the end of that month is the 31st of August. All right. And then I want to format it because I don't need those times on the end. So I'll go to home, and it's picked up automatically that it is a date, but I can specify exactly that it's a date. And here's the format. I really just want to show the date as 2 digits for the day, 2 digits for the month, and 4 digits for the year. So I'm going to choose that format there. And so you can adjust the format of the date. I want to add another column, design, add, and 1 month away is the name, 1 month away, colon equals, and it's the E date, and the E date returns the date that is indicated number of months before or after the start date. So you can put a positive or a negative number. So I'm putting E date, and I want the E date of the order date, and comma, I want 1 month ahead of the order date. Close the brackets, press enter. So that if I ordered it on the 4th of, let's look at the order date. If I ordered on the 4th of August, the 5th of August, the 8th of August, 1 month after that is the 4th of September, the 5th of September, the 8th of September. So that's how the end of month works, or the E date works. And then I want to format that, home, make it a date as the data type, and then the format is just 2 digits for the day, 2 digits for the month, and 4 digits for the year. And so that's 1 month away. So that's a video of a number of functions: e-date, end of month, year, week number, month, multiplication, and so on.